What is the glue that holds a community together? And how does that community stay unified and stay together through conflict? Those are the questions I want to address today. You see, we know that colonial America was indeed a Christian society. It was a Christian culture. By the 1750s, there were over 1,500 churches in the colonies, and each of those churches had about 90 families in attendance. If we do the math, that means at least 2/3 of the culture was nominally Christian. That's ridiculous. You don't see those stats anywhere else in any other country today. But how did their faith shape their culture when the community was threatened, when the colonies were threatened with war? You see, that's the true test. Conflict is the true test of a culture's strength. What binds them together, what puts them together, and I believe the answer is faith. And I believe the Revolutionary War was that ultimate crisis for the 13 colonies because it changed their identity. It changed who they were as not just a political entity, but as individuals. They were no longer colonists. They were no longer English citizens. They were brand new people in a brand new nation. And faith is what kept them going. Faith is what kept them surviving. For example, in his seminal work, The Glorious Cause, Robert Middlecoff writes, "It's more than anything else in America, religion shaped culture. And as different as the colonists were, they possessed a common culture which held them together in the crisis and upheaval of war." What historians like Robert Middlecoff know is that faith was not just an element of a culture, it was the culture. It bound them together, it unified them. And when crisis occurred, the foundation of faith that was established in the early 1600s and carried through the 1700s on through the Great Awakening in the 1740s, that faith carried the American colonists through the war. It wasn't better arms and ammunition that won the war, it was their faith. It was their faith that won the war. We also have first-hand documents that prove this, that show this, that demonstrate that the cultural language, the way they encouraged each other, the way they upheld their community was by their faith in God. It wasn't just a part of their community, it was their community. In a sermon delivered by Abraham Cuddaloss in 1777, he urged the colonists to hold on to their faith in the midst of crisis. He wrote, "Do all you can to promote this cause. Plead earnestly with God in its behalf, by continual prayer and supplication, by repentance and reformation, by forsaking every vice, the practice of universal virtue. Be ready to fight for it and maintain it with the last drop of your blood." When communities face any kind of crisis at all, they're forced with the decision of how to respond, how to engage. Faith was built up as the foundation for the early colonies. We know this. Many of the colonies were built with the purpose of being faith communities, of being these centers where the Protestant faith, or even Catholic faith in the case of Maryland, could be preserved and kept in the New World and spread in the New World. But when push came to shove and war came to the New World, they had to respond. In many cases of crisis, faith is the first thing that goes. But it was so built into the foundation of the society that faith was maintained and cherished and used as a fuel on the furnace for a cause they thought was worthwhile and glorious. And the fruit before our eyes.